What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Tori G here. I'm back to you with a video request from my guy John Black Beats. He requested that I do a mix down of how I would mix a trap beat, which is interesting because I haven't been getting a lot of trap music. It seems like a lot of people are trying to step outside the box there, you know what I'm saying? So that's it's pretty interesting how that worked out. But again, trap is still alive. It might just be, in different formats, different shapes, different forms right these days. But anyway, so first things first, you import your audio and boom, all you have to do is basically drag and drop it into your session, right? Oh, let me get rid of this. And there's your tracks, right? And this is going to be from start to finish, okay? And so right now, when you open up a song in Studio One, the tempo is normally 120. Sometimes you want to check a couple things when starting out, right? You want to look at your waveforms. What I can see is this. These waveforms are already at unity. How do I know that? It's because my zoom function is at the minimum. That means these hi-hats are extra loud. You know what I'm saying? They are peaking. They might not be clipping because these might be in 32-bit format. So they might not be clipping, but they're still definitely loud. So my first step is I always do it the easy way and I gain stage first. I typically go ahead and do a macro. You can have these they have these macros in Studio One where I would do normalize to -12. And what that does is it analyzes all the tracks and reduces them to peak at -12. Why do I do that first? Because if I had played this as it is, it would have blown my speakers out because everything was at zero, peaking at zero. Everything would have been loud. Number one. And then number two, you got to give yourself headroom. Once you get your multi-tracks from a producer, you want to give yourself headroom so that you can mix. All right. So another administrative thing is when mixing in Studio One, you want to get used to navigation, right? So down here, you got your different zoom feature here. You can drag that or you can hit shift and it'll zoom at smaller increments. And you got your actual waveform zoom, so you can zoom in on the waveforms. And you got your scroll and your up and down scroll. You can actually make these large or small, the size of them large or small, and you can actually do the same with this. For me, I have shortcuts that help me zoom. So mine is for the zoom full or zoom overview. I have Option Z that brings everything into view, all your tracks, even like your effects tracks that might be over here in this view. I also use Shift S to zoom in to selection, or I hold Option or Alt on a PC, Alt Shift, and then you drag where you want to look and it'll zoom in. Those are my three main ones that I use. And I just hit Option Z to go back to zoom full. All right. The next thing is basically we're at this point, we're setting up the stage for the mix, right? I don't necessarily worry about I would keep your start and end point view up to get to that. Just go to your marker, leave that up. All right. Sometimes they'll tell you the tempo, and other times the wave files have the information already embedded. So you can actually right click on Studio One, look at the file tempo, and then go ahead and set that tempo. One note though, before you do that, you highlight all these tracks, you hit the inspector view, or if you hover over that, it'll tell you that it's F4 on your keyboard. Hit don't follow, because if you do that, it'll stretch all the audio as you change the tempo. We just need to hit don't follow for now. I'm going to change the tempo to 150. Now everything's lined up nice and neat. I can bring my end marker. Boom. Now when I hit Option Z, everything, the whole song is in the view. All right. So for me, if you guys ever want to get into it, I don't know why I did that. If you guys ever want to get into it, go ahead and start figuring out macros. So for me, My macro is, I have a keyboard that has a lot of function keys. So mine is F19. And what that'll do, that'll bring this end marker to the end of the exact right where the files are. So boom, it'll bring it in there. Whoop, did I do it wrong? My probably because I already did it, but anyway. Or is my, I don't know. Maybe it's just not working today. Sometimes I have issues with that. F19. Let me make sure I ain't tripping. But anyway, keyboard, here's how you would check your keyboard shortcuts. You just type in F19 and then see where your what your keys are gonna do. So mine is actually set to a macro. A lot of my functions are set to macros. So yeah, F19, I guess it's because I had already messed with it. But anyway, back to the point. Now we got like my first level of gain staging. Everything is where I can hear it. And from this is where I start doing clip gain to kind of start getting my initial levels. So let's go ahead and listen to the beat. All right, we get the point. That's pretty fire beat, pretty dope. A little bit of a melodic thing, like a dark melodic trap kind of going on. So clearly we want to get our stuff leveled to where it makes sense, right? So let's go ahead and group things. What I like to do, I like to group things by like items. Shout out to Studio One for the stretchable meters, because that in other DAWs, Logic, I could barely see the meters. I'm a visual and ear. I use both. So if my meters, if I can't see what's going on in my meters to verify what I'm hearing, it kind of defeats the purpose a little bit for me. But anyway, let's go ahead and get all the drums. I'm just going to highlight the drums, basically all the percussion. So that will be shift, clap, crash, command. And you can individually select things, the kick, O-hat, and I believe that's all the drum. What is this? Piano, crash. Okay, highlight that. What's this? Piano. All right, so I got all that. I'm gonna right click, and this is how I do it, y'all. This is how I do it. There's not like one whole way to do it. I'll right click and pack folder. All right. And what that does, that puts all my selected tracks into a folder, and then I just add a bus. Oh crap, what did I do? Let me undo that. Add a bus, not a VCA. I don't even use VCAs. And then I'll just name this drum bus. Boom, now all my drums are organized. And then here are all my melodic instruments, pianos, pads, bells, same thing, pack folder. And then add a bus, and then I'm gonna name it. This is gonna be strings and things. You know, nothing fancy. It don't matter what you name it, as long as you name it so you understand what's going on. And I usually keep my 808 separate. My 808 and my bass, they're their own thing. All right. Now, my next move is gonna go ahead, run it back, and start leveling the stuff using clip gain. Because -12 is kind of quiet for a lot of stuff, but -12 is a good starter point. I don't usually go higher than -6 once I start getting up there, because even after that, you need the headroom to, you know, do your mix bus processing. But anyway, back to the kick. Let's go work on the kick. Bring that up. So as you can see, looking pretty good at -6. That's healthy. All right, so now we got a little bit of body. You can actually bring the clap up. And this is by clip. I'm not even touching the faders. I don't want to do anything with the faders until I'm closer to the end. So shortcut for clip gain volume, you hit Alt on the PC and Option on the Mac. And you can hit Alt plus. That'll increase the volume by 0.1 dB. 0.1 dB if you hold Option Shift plus or Option Shift negative to bring it down. But you can see, man, it's still clipping a little bit, but we're getting that under control. So we're getting a lot of buildup. That's why we're seeing this thing peak. And I'll show you why we're getting buildup. It has a lot to do with the 808 and the kick drum, right? Let's look at the relationship here. So we basically got our levels there. I really didn't have to do too much because to me right now, it sounds like things are where they should. You might want to tweak it a little bit more here and there, but basically you want your kick, your snap, your snap or clap, and your hi-hats to be kind of the driving factor in trap music. Boom. Now I'm doing all this because in the back of my mind, I'm doing all this with the thought of the artist or singer being, having a presence. You got to remember there got to be a pocket for the artist to make their, be able to imagine themselves on the beat, right? Half the time, and I'll tell you this from experience because I used to make beats. Half the time I would make these elaborate beats and have all this stuff going on, and the loudness of the relationship between the drums and everything else, everything's loud, but I didn't like give it a pocket for even the artist to imagine themselves in that pocket. So that's why we gain stage and we level everything to where it fits and feels good. All right, so let's work. I think first we should work on the kick and drum relationship in Studio One. And I'm gonna try to use stock plugins as much as possible, because if you're new to Studio One, that's probably all you got, or you probably want to get good at Studio One. So let's go ahead and pull up the Pro EQ, which is a really good EQ. You have this high quality button determines whether you're oversampling or not. That's pretty much it. Other than that, and a lot of the times I don't even have oversampling on because it's already a good sounding EQ. All right, and I'm just gonna add another one. And what you can do is you either search it, type it in here, and it'll bring it up, or you can just drag and drop the copy. All right. So for me to normally find out what the relationship is between a kick and drum, I like to use analyzers. And in this instance, the Pro EQ 2 has a sidechain function where you can see. So I'm gonna sidechain this 808 to my kick. I wanted to listen to my kick. This is how easy it is to sidechain. You just hit this button, click the track you wanted to listen to, and boom. As long as this is engaged, your sidechain is on. Easy. And hit the little pin button right here to keep, if you want to keep multiple plugins up on the screen. So the FFT curve is the only one you can see what's. So this line is going to be your input. The other line is going to be your regular stuff, your regular thing, your what you're actually using. So let's go ahead and listen, and we're going to carve out some space for the kick drum. And I'm just going to loop this here. So what you can do is you make sure that you got your selector tool, or your range tool. That's number 2 on your keyboard, or you just have your smart tool and hover on the upper half and then highlight that, hit your / key and your P key. That'll get your selection over there on your loop and to activate your loop. All right. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling out where the kick needs to live, and I'm making a pocket where where I want that kick to come through. So if you heard that punch of that kick come through a lot better now that that's been ducked out. Now this is a lot. It doesn't necessarily have to be that much. And the way you can change that is you can change how you can see it here. So I'll stick to -12. I don't want to go too much past -6. Unnecessary information up here. I'm just going to go ahead and high pass or low pass that out. We really don't need that on the 808. And then on the kick, we're going to do a similar thing. So on the kick, you really don't need too much sub content. So I'm going to go ahead and engage a steep low cut or low high pass. And I'm going to cut around maybe 30 or 40. Yeah, you really don't need anything in the subs because that's where the actual 808 is. So what I'm doing is basically accentuating the actual beater, like the punch of that kick. And let's hear it by itself. It sounds like I took out a lot, which I did. So let's probably bring it back to 30. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So the next thing that I would do is now that I've kind of created a decent relationship between the kick and the 808, I'm going to also starting at 20 hertz, I'm just going to roll off the sub. Everything below 20 hertz can just get rolled off, man. It's really unnecessary. So I'm saying that there's a lot of sub-low content, and you'll see why I'm rolling it off, because essentially the 808 needs to be heard on smaller speakers. So what we're gonna do is saturate the upper harmonics. Let's see if I can find a good one that comes with the stock one that comes with Studio One. Red light district. Man, this thing is powerful. A small but powerful thing, man. So let me go ahead and I'm gonna go hard tube, and it's gonna be aggressive, but we're gonna mix it in, okay? Already you can hear those upper harmonics, you know what I mean? I'm gonna throw another analyzer on there so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Watch how much more information this distortion unit adds to the 808. So adding those octaves up of upper harmonics actually makes the 808 feel much louder. So now because now we're adding to that, okay? So let's go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and pass over everything below 40. Let's see, can I change this? I don't think I could change it. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Much more aggressive right there. I think we can use that and then blend it in. I think I like the way that soft tube kind of fit in there. Let's hear the transistor. All right, So Tori, why would you, we want that low end. Why are you cutting out so much of it? Well, in the long run, you'll see why. In the long run is where it matters, because it's going to feel like we're losing, but you'll see why we have to control the low end. You mix the low end right, the rest of your song kind of falls in line. All right. Oh yeah, and the kick. So now that we like the tones of the 808, we can go ahead and move towards the kick. The kick needs a little bit more love. So I don't know if you notice, by increasing that peak right here, my kick is now extremely loud. So what we want to do is clip it. And I have a bunch of different clipping plugins, but let's go ahead and use the stock one. And we might switch it up later, because this is not actually a stock plug-in video. But again, if Studio One's, if you're new to it, I want to show you what it can do. So the limiter actually has a soft clip function built into it, which is fire. And the different modes right here kind of help you kind of drive the tone of it. All right, so I'm gonna go a pretty medium release, slow attack for the kick, and then I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna keep it on B mode. B kind of chops it off a little bit more abruptly, and what I'm gonna do is just bring the ceiling back. Okay, everything else is at 0. There we go. I like the way this one sounds. So I basically want my ceiling to stop it at -6. That's the highest I want the peak to go. But I wanted my loudness to kind of remain around -12 of RMS. RMS is very important to me. RMS is where you get your perceived loudness from. So if your perceived loudness is ideal, then you're on the right track. Yeah, I like the way that one came out. Man, don't sleep on the stock plugins, baby. I'm telling you, don't sleep on them. All right, my next move would be to work on the clap, like the tone of the clap and the hi-hats. I'm just basically moving up the frequency spectrum from the bottom to the top. All right, so now I'm just gonna start doing things to kind of make things sound more interesting. Normally, you don't really need to EQ and do this so much with pre-recorded samples and loops and stuff, but when you're mixing, the point is for you to enhance things. So let's go ahead and pull out the binaural panner. This actually is a dope stock plugin, and you can actually make things sound a lot wider. So I'm just going to increase this, and we're going to go back and forth and see how it sounds. Yeah, much more, a little bit bigger feeling. Yeah, I like that. Let me just bring that back a little bit more. All right, you can even use another plugin, which is one of my favorite. You got, I mean, there's a few other out there, a few of them out there. You got the Stereo Maker. This is actually a really good one, and it's cheap. And it's an original, you know. So let's just go ahead and make it bigger. And it's mono compatible. The way you check mono compatible is you just turn this little button. This is your master. Turn it to mono, and if it disappears, then you gotta fix it. Nope, still there. So either way, I'm gonna stick with the stock one. All right, that's just gonna make it feel a little bit bigger. Basically, cleaning up all this unnecessary stuff down here. All right, let's just go ahead and hear that as a whole. I like that. That sounds pretty good. One trick that I like to do is with the hi-hats. Sometimes hi-hats can get very mundane. They get very mundane. And let me just go ahead and default these. And let's just listen to the hi-hats and just run it through. That unnecessary low end, let's just get rid of that. X trim, that's what it is, X trim. Here we go. You can move things around and you can put it with the tempo. So I'm gonna go, is this 1/16? I think it's 1/16. Oh yeah, go from tremolo to pan. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go put it on 1/16. And that's just me. I like to make them move from left to right. because it makes it feel much more alive. And it don't even gotta be like all the way left or all the way right. You can make it very subtle. And let's see, expander. You can also do an expander to shorten up some of that, like the end of that. Just to tighten it up. And that's how I would do that. And I probably level match it down a little bit. Maybe add a little bit of a room reverb. Let's kind of shorten that up. Go ahead and shorten it so it's maybe like 1 second. Mix down a little bit. It don't gotta be crazy. It don't gotta be crazy. It's more felt than heard. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even less than that. Let's just go down to 1%. How about 0.5%? Very subtle. And trust me, it'll get up there when we start bringing things louder. And then on the mix bus, I'm probably gonna do EQ. Let's go with the fat channel and just do like a typical standard, the bus compressor. Let's go with the Brit. Or actually, let's go with the 160. That's a good drum compressor. Oh yeah. I'll probably go with this. The DBX 160 emulations are always like very aggressive. So maybe between 2 and 4 of the compression ratio. And we'll see how far we can dial it back. I guess the only thing I don't like about the DBX is you really can't control like the recovery time. So now we're looking pretty good. -6 is where I want. I was gonna equalize it, but I don't know. Let's see what it might do. So let's do something subtle like a Bandic style. And let's start it at 7. Yeah, this looks good. Let's cut it off around 28, or 18. And let's just go ahead and bring it up a little bit. I'm gonna bring this up to maybe like 166 and just start increasing that gain. And let's see how it sounds. Ooh. Much louder. Yeah, I think now that we got it EQ'd correctly, or EQ'd pretty good, the DBX does kind of make it sound a little bit more aggressive, and I like the way it's compressed. So there's a couple things that I got an issue with. So we already have 808s and stuff going on. Some of this low end doesn't need to be here while the 808 is playing. So this is a simple thing here where, because in the intro, it's very necessary that that low end is there. But not during the, like when the 808's in there. So what we can do is this. What I like to do is automate a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and right click that button, automate active. I'm gonna leave it off in the beginning, just like I said, because we liked it there. And just drag the buttons where that line is in the timeline. And boom, now we got our on and off switch for the high pass filter. So yeah, exactly. That's good. So when that goes off, that leaves this will be clear for the 808 and all the other low end stuff to come through. And I'm just gonna do that, just basically looking at where the 808 is in those sections, right? And then drag and drop. So another way you can do these is, you see that, again, that marker tool highlighted, boom. As long as you're in the automation view or automation track view, you can bring it down like that too. You can mess the automation that way by hitting A on your keyboard. That'll flip that on and off. I think this one we would just basically saturate it. I don't feel like it needs much to be done, other than maybe automating it down a little bit so that the vocals can come through, or filtering it. Maybe add a filter during the verse. Let's go to like a verse part. Sounds like there's a bit of some artifacts going on. Maybe that's the point of this. I'm not sure, but we're gonna rock with it. I think it can use some compression. I'm gonna add another fat channel on there. And again, these are plugins that are stock to Studio One. If you don't have the collection, you at least get the standard 2 FET, and I think you get the Brit. I'm not 100%, but I know for a fact you at least get these 3, and they're real good. So I'm gonna go ahead and just compress it with the leveler, and because that provides smooth compression. Basically your LA2A. I might need to turn it on for it to work, right? Yeah, I like that. Let's hear how it sounds everything together. I like that a lot, actually. But I want to compress it, but I want to be able to keep my attack fairly slow for them bells to come through. So let's see how I do. Let me go to this section here. I'm gonna go with 4. I'm gonna make it ignore all that low end content and maybe bring it up. So I like this one. So there's going to be a point where you're going to want to get creative. All right. And this is where I start getting creative, because the beat, we pretty much got the beat where it needs to be for the most part. But I'm going to go ahead and start getting creative with it. I think this one could do with some dope reverb, like some extra, like some shimmery reverb. So let's try adding room reverb in there, and let's see what I can get out of it. Ooh, I'm probably gonna add a delay in there too. Now, normally if you had like a vocal or something, you would want to do a send, but because this is just the instrument, it's pretty much all I want. I want the instrument itself to do something special by itself. See all that though? Now that we've got everything under control, we're not peaking anymore. And this is where, at this point, you got your beat mixed. And I'm gonna spend, you know, we coming up on an hour. I'm gonna spend the last few minutes just freaking it up, doing some bus mixing or some bus stuff. And boom, we pretty much got it. We cooking with it. Oh, one other thing you might want to do also is sidechain your. Sometimes you don't need it, but if you really want your kick to come through, and your 808 is living in the same space, sidechain a compressor to that kick. Oops, to that kick, right? So you want this compressor on the 808, listening to the kick track. And I'm gonna go ahead and make my ratio high. And I just wanted to knock it down. Now my kick is really smacking. Let's go. Man, you hear how much more space we have now? Wow, bro, wow. So, all right, check this out. This is, so let's get into some creative stuff here. And so we can go ahead and leave these like this. You can kind of see the individual tracks within the folders / bus tracks. You can actually start doing some chops. Let's go. And then boom, right here, you got some chops right here. And then let's say I just want to get rid of all the drums right there. Boom. Actually, that was the strings, my bad. You could actually do the drums right here. All right, that sounds great. Now let's get to my mix bus. All right, so we got our drums bus, we got our strings and things bus, which I was surprised I didn't do anything on that. But I'm gonna highlight all these, right click. Actually, I'm gonna do it up here. Right click, pack the folder, add a bus, name it mix bus. You don't have to do it this way, but I like to save my master track for like mastering if I decide to do it in the DAW. And boom, now I got a track specific, like with everything in it. And now I can do some mix bus processing. Let's go ahead and do that in this last minute and a half. All right, let's go ahead and add a, let's stick with the fat channel. You can do this with other plugins too, but the fat channel, you know, they kind of bring a little bit to the, like a little bit of everything to the table in the, with this DAW. All right, let's go ahead and run it. I'm gonna EQ everything as a whole. I think on the mix bus, I want to use. I'm gonna go with the VT1. There's a few extra bands. and let's run with it. Opening it up a little bit more. Probably gonna knock out some low mids right around the 400. That's that boxiness between 300 and 500. I like that. I like that. Right here gave it that mid-range some life. Right here is your side chain filter. I like to put mine for SSL. I like to put mine. You can see it up here in the corner, right around 100. Go ahead and put it at 100. I don't want anything below 100 triggering this compressor. And I like to put it at 4. Ratio at 4. Let's keep the attack pretty high. I'm gonna keep the release. Yeah, let's keep it at 0.3. Let's see what it do. And go to that. I like 1. I like 0.1. All right, boom. Now we got that. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that as it is. Yes, sir. And while we at it, let's just go ahead and master it. I mean, shoot. So what I like to do is, let me get rid of all these. So I like to analyze this at the end here, spectrum meter. And what I do is this. There is a way to see the So like basically when you look at your meter, this line, that cross line that goes across, you should be able to level your like your frequencies should be kind of like level with that line. It might be skewed a little bit, but that's typically what it looks like. It should be like a slope somewhere. A slope knob, a slope button. I can't remember. Maybe I don't know. Level range? Nah. Anyway, whatever. But typically you want your this line that going across, you want your levels across the frequency range to kind of be even, or like, you know, be evenly distributed. It doesn't have to be perfect, but evenly distributed, so that you're getting a healthy amount of activity in all the frequency ranges. That's how I view it. So it looks like I still need a little bit of mid-range. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the Pro EQ again and just work on that mid-range, or the high mid rather. So let's see what it do. And since we're mastering, let's go down to 6 dB so that we don't trick ourselves. We can see only 6 dB of range here, so that we're not fooling ourselves with how much gain we need to do. Yeah, see, 2 dB that's all we needed. And I'm going to go ahead and roll off again 20 hertz. Why am I doing this? I'm rolling it off at 20 hertz because the more low end you have means the more your limiters and compressors at the end of the chain are going to get triggered. The low end frequencies are very powerful, even if you can't hear them. Believe it or not, and also cutting out that extra sub low, it actually reveals the rest of the frequency range where you actually can feel it and hear it. It's called frequency masking. That's a whole nother video. And because I gained that up, let's go ahead and level match. Whoops, it's not letting me type. Okay, that's weird. Sometimes you acting weird. So I gained everything by basically 2 dB. I'm gonna just back it off by 2 dB. Multi-band compression is great. So I'm just go ahead, I edit everything together and just bring it down till it starts smacking it a little bit. And then I'm gonna turn this off and we're gonna just go ahead and affect each band, right? Each band. Honestly, that might actually be it. I just needed to control it. When you compress multi-band mode, it makes it feel a little bit more transparent than smacking the entire signal down. And the ratio is very light. Very light. I might even push it up to 2.5. I can't believe this thing's not letting me type. But anyway, 2.5. A little bit more aggressive, but not so aggressive it doesn't make sense. And if you want to get fancy, if you got Studio One Pro, and you have the what's that called? I forgot what it's called, man. The Sphere membership, you get all this stuff anyway. So let's see, what is it called? It's a compressor that Presonus makes, and it's actually got a lot of character to it. See if I can remember what it is, because my next thing was going to be to saturate it. Here we go. Tricomp. Tricomp is another multi-band, but it functions in the way of like in my mind, it's like kind of like a Neve, the Neve multi-band. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna zero all this out and let's see if we can make it work. Very light. And let's go ahead, and this saturation knob is actually really intense. I've only gone up to like 2%. So let's see what we can do. All right, I'm gonna push it real loud and see what we can. Yeah, that saturation is crazy, bro. So yeah, maybe maybe like 2%, maybe even less. Let's try 4% or 5% and mix it in. Yeah, mixing it in is a much better thing because we want it to remain a little bit lo-fi. This thing kind of brings up too much of the high end, the upper mid. Look at all that healthy headroom we can just get for our loudness now. So now we can just bring up our limiter. And this is basic mastering. This is nothing crazy. This is nothing special. And now we can either do it the maximizer or we can do it the old school way and just gain it up. Let's see what the maximizer does. I always have my ceiling at -1. And boom, it just got loud. And now we have a quick 1 hour mix, which is actually pretty quick. Normally you would probably do this, take a break, go back, revisit some things. But I think we got a real good sound real fast. And this is without vocals. So that's pretty interesting. Imagine if some vocals, we probably make some different decisions if we have vocals in here. Let's hear that intro. I like that. So stuff like that, this is like, again, that creative decision making, because you see how like the producer, it kind of stops abruptly there. You may want to like do like a weird, like a quick filter type thing to kind of, introduce the next part. Yeah, I like that a lot. I hope y'all like that. I hope that helps. I kind of went over my hour. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoy that. And let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all have a good day.